Hello, everybody. Welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet. And today we're going to be taking a look at a piece from the latest issue of Modern Haiku, a piece from Francine Banwarth, a vertical haiku with the first words of sunflower fields. So, with that said, you know what time it is. Time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be with you again for another episode of Haiku Talk. And I'm excited because we haven't had a vertical haiku in a while. And this is a very fun one and profound one at that. So let's get right to it, shall we? The poem goes like this. Sunflower fields, I was grown from a girl. Sunflower fields, I was grown from a girl. Wonderful, wonderful piece. And what's interesting, it is a centered vertical haiku. And in that sense, it also would be a one-liner. And yet, it still follows a fragment and a phrase format, with the first two words being the fragment, that is sunflower fields, and the phrase being, I was grown from a girl. And this piece just really jumped out at me. Being a grown person myself, I'm not a grown girl, but I'm not grown from a girl, I was grown from a boy, but being a middle-aged person, and being old enough to be able to look back on your life and see, you know, where you grew up from. For example, I'm wearing a Metallica t-shirt, which is a band I listen to, or have been listening to since I was in grade school. And they've played kind of a formative, early formative structure of an interest in poetry for me. I started writing poems in the 8th grade on my own, not with any assignments to them, based on sort of these long instrumental pieces that Metallica did, and I tried to write my own lyrics to their songs. And so for me, beat and rhythm poetry has always been a part of what I do. And so when I see a poem like this, and I see sunflower fields, and then it's the reminder of that childhood wonder of what it was to look at sunflower fields, and then realizing that you're grown up and how much those things might have still played a part, or, you know, or what part of that has played a part of you growing up. And this is different from everybody. But we all have those things that if we look at them or see them or hear them or experience them, they are touchstones to our younger self. And when we look at them and encounter them, we are then also not only taken back to our own childhood, but we also realize how far we've come. And that the person, the adult that we are today, grew from that young person. And so this is a poem that really asks you to sit with it for a while and to relate in your own life. You know, what is your thing? What is your sunflower field? And how is it that, you know, you grew from the child that you once were? And it's so fun that this is a vertical haiku because it's like the girl is the last word at the bottom. And everything else like grows upward from that word girl. You know, so you have sunflower fields at the top, girl at the bottom, which is the relation of the two, but it's the growing up that actually happens from the girl to the adult. But as you read the poem and as you encounter the poem, you start at the adult and you read down to the girl, which is how we experience the moment, how we experience this point in life as the adult. And we have to reach back, follow back, go to the root, go down the page to get to that childhood, get to that place of where you started. And if you've never done any sort of thought experiment or self-reflection on that type of thing, it's a very worthwhile experience to take some time out and think back on that. And it could be, the trigger could be anything. For Francine, it was seeing the sunflower fields. For me recently, it was going to this Metallica concert with my younger brother, and who we both listened to this band when we were in grade school, and had a lot of fun kind of talking about those early experiences and the early albums. And because we were, literally growing up with the band. We were, in the 80s, we were in grade school. So yeah, definitely not kids, he and I. So let's break this down and show it how it works. And since it does work vertically, we kind of read it a little bit differently. So we'll just kind of go for it almost line by line, word by word, as it builds momentum. So that first word you encounter at the top, that's my cat Anastasia being a rascal behind me somewhere, doing her thing. But you start with sunflower. Boom. Image instantly pops into my head what a sunflower is. I know it. I see it. The next word is fields. So now I go from a single flower to fields of sunflowers. Not just a field, but fields. And I know what those are like. I've seen them in France. I've seen them. We have beautiful sunflower fields here in Missouri. It's an amazing thing. The third word is I. Not sure what that, we don't really know what that means yet, but suddenly we know that we're going from sunflower fields to some sort of personal reflection, some sort of personal connection to them. The fourth word is was. So now we know, we got the fields, personal connection, and now we know we're in the present thinking about something that happened in the past, because was implies a past tense. Grown is the next word. Sunflower fields, I was grown. Interesting build there. Interesting build because we have the sunflower fields, the implication, something with I in the past, and grown. And we know that sunflower fields are grown. We know that we as humans are grown, but we don't know what the connection is yet. I was grown from is the next word. From. The next word, single letter, to the final word, girl. Now we have the whole thing. We have the whole thread. We can see the whole flower from the top to the bottom. And what always happens for me is I get to the bottom and I see it like, oh, wow, I see what's happened here. And then I immediately want to reread the whole poem again, now that I have the full thing, the full moment in front of me. Sunflower fields, I was grown from a girl. Sunflower fields, I was grown from a girl. Wow. Just a lovely, lovely piece. And like I said, it sits deep because it I can't say anything beyond saying that this is just a really good personal exercise to go through, is to think, how you've grown from that young person that you once were. In my case, from a boy to a man. In Francine's case, from a girl to a woman. It happens. There's stages. And the sunflower fields are a nice way to go through that, because you can see, from the seed planted in the ground to the girl that was first birthed in the world. The first time you know what the plant is, if you're not a seedling, breaking the ground. You see that green bud, the green little spout, And then you all, before you know it, you're a grown sunflower in a field of sunflowers. You're an adult in a field of adults. And somehow you started as just one little young person. I love it. Love it. And that wraps it up for today. So thank you again for tuning in. Like this if you've liked the episode, if you like the poem. Leave a comment if there's something you'd like to add to this, if there's something you'd like to share about your own reflection or something that's a touchstone for you. Please do so. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and ring the bell for notifications once you've subscribed. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully you find your touchstone. It's not a dark process to think back on this. It's good to go back and remember where you came from and to look at where you are now. The amazing person that you've grown into among, a sunflower among sunflower fields. Until next time, cheers, everybody.